You're listening to How to 20-something, the only podcast that helps both men and women navigate their 20s and learn how to adult across all aspects of their lives. We're going to be focusing on career, relationships, finances, fitness, nutrition, and all of the common challenges and obstacles a typical 20-something will face in this post-college life and what to do about it. I'm your host, Just Diamond, and I am the CEO and founder of Just Diamond Coaching, where I help young professionals get their shit together, gain their confidence, and own their life. No one prepares you for this adulting world, so allow me to help you feel like you are no longer a chicken running around with its head cut off, and that you actually know what the hell is going on and what your next step to take is. Welcome to How to 20-something. Welcome back to another episode of How to 20-something, where today I'm going to bring to light a very common experience and realization in early adulthood, and that is feeling like you are living the same day over and over again. This concept of Groundhog Day was introduced by the movie Groundhog Day, where the main character relives the same day until he learns a valuable life lesson and changes his ways. Your version of Groundhog Day is more related to living on a conveyor belt of life, where you wake up, you go to work, you work out, you eat dinner, you go to sleep, and you do it all again the next day. And then you go crazy on the weekends to try to balance out the regimented weekday life that you've created for yourself. I've mentioned several times now that by the end of my first or second week of adulting, I took a look at my life and thought, wait, this is it? This is what I've spent the last 17 years of schooling to try to achieve? There's no way. I also thought, how are people okay with this? Living the same exact day over and over and over again for 40 years straight. I certainly wasn't okay with it, but I figured maybe something was wrong with me, and this is just what adulting is, so I need to suck it up and show up to work every day. After all, everyone in my family before me had been living this lifestyle and seemed fine with it, and my friends who started adulting a few months before me talked about loving this experience and actually having money now. So I felt like the odd man out who was lost and confused about what my life had to offer. Which is funny when you think about it, because to some extent, all of your primary years of schooling are built in this structure. You just also happen to have more opportunities to get involved in extracurriculars like clubs or sports. You also thought nothing of it until you went to college, and you were given a lot more time freedom and then expected to get right back to the strict schedule after a 4-year hiatus. I say it all the time. I think high school prepares you a lot better for the adulting world, and college gives you this false sense of reality and adulting and responsibilities. So it's a very rude awakening when you have to go back to this way of living. It wasn't until I lost my job in 2020 and accidentally found my passion that helped me get out of that mindset and then quite literally out of the 9-to-5 life. Losing my job initially put me in a different type of conveyor belt or Groundhog Day that was a lot more depressing, but it did teach me some valuable lessons that I now help my clients create within their own lives and successfully supports me through my entrepreneurial lifestyle as well. I know a lot of you listening don't ever plan on leaving the corporate world, which is perfectly fine and honestly recommended, as I would not encourage anyone to be an entrepreneur unless it was their full dying passion. Because trust me, the stress and the mental breakdowns are not worth it if you don't absolutely love what you're building. However, I also know that you don't want to feel like you are living the same day over and over again and feel as though you're stuck in your own version of Groundhog Day. So I'm going to talk to you today about how to get out of that mentality and switch things up in your life to invite curiosity and play and change in, and as a result, break free from your own conveyor belt. To begin, I feel as though this vicious cycle and realization happens twice a year for a majority of the population. One of them is right after the holidays, and then the other one is during the summer. Right after the holidays, all of the excitement of the previous 2 months dies down and everything levels out. There isn't much to look forward to, travel has died down, your bank accounts are hurting a little, and the sun is setting at 4 p.m. So Groundhog Day is also your wintertime blues, and it really kicks up and is in full effect in January. Add in that it's cold and your motivation to do anything else outside of work completely diminishes. Then, as the weather starts to get warmer and the time changes, you kind of forget your misery from the previous 3 months. So the second time catches you more off guard, and it's when that first sunny 90-degree day hits in the summer, and maybe you're in your early 20s, so you're still feeling excited, but then by mid to late 20s, you realize, wait, summer isn't all that great. You're constantly sweating, getting to and from work, and while, yes, the days are longer so you can get an evening walk in or go to a social event, your life really hasn't changed that much. I will say, most people feel more productive after work because the sun is still high up in the sky, so I want to help you use that existing motivation towards a piece of your life that is wanting to be more nourished that you can then take with you into the wintertime. I know a lot of people follow the natural cycle of seasons where they are out and about in the summer and essentially go hibernate in the winter. And while yes, I want to emphasize the importance of slowing down so you aren't so go, go, go all the time and burn yourself out by the time you're 27, I also want to bring to light that your wintertime seasonal depression is escalated by your decision to hide out and only work and work out during those cold winter months. There is a certain balance as you move from one week to the next that you can create so you don't fully hibernate in the winter or overly exert yourself in the summer. But let's start with why this is happening in the first place. I was talking with one of my clients recently, and she's 24, so this is her second summer of adulting, and she brought up how frustrating it is that she has to keep working during the summertime. And we talked about what's actually going on, and it's really to no fault of her own. Her brain was taught that you rest during the summer and you go have fun. And it's actually a pretty messed up part of society where your entire life you're going to school, you're told to work hard in the fall and then have 2 weeks off in the winter for the holidays, then work really hard again in the spring, have end of year exams, and then have 2 months off for summer. Fast forward to adulting and there are no more designated breaks or multiple week stretches off at a time. The only time you get off now is holidays and your own PTO. And if your job was anything like my second job out of school, your PTO is not great. And it has to be requested off well in advance to get approved, even though most of us book the trip and then request the days off. But basically, there are no more breaks. There's only long weekends. Now, you've gone from being taught to work hard in chunks and have time off to the very rude awakening of continuous work for 40 years, possibly more, as our government is a POS. So what happens as a result is you get caught in the same vicious cycle or living the same day over and over again and only have that next day off or next vacation planned to look forward to, which is a pretty shitty way to live if you ask me. And I'm here to help you find a way to escape that trap so you don't go mad and turn 50, have a midlife crisis, quit your job, sell all your belongings, and go live on a commune until you're old and senile. And this starts with referring back to the goal-setting episode from a long time ago, and that is you need to chunk out your year every single year. Go with the fiscal quarters of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and October, November, December. So divide your year into fourths, and on the first of the month of each of those 4 chunks, erase your whiteboard. Note, if you don't have a whiteboard, go get one. It's very helpful for this exact thing. And after you clean it off, write the quarter you're now in, which right now we are in Q3, so it would say Q3 goals at the top. Then come up with about 5 things you want to work on or accomplish within the next 3 months. And write it down as a checklist. It could be dating goals, a trip you want to plan, a certification you're after, moving, changing jobs, savings goals, literally anything and everything that you want to focus your time, energy, and attention on for the following 3 months. And then check off each accomplishment as you do them. Now, I know this episode is being released at the beginning of August, so you can either focus this exercise for the remaining 2 months of this quarter or go 3 months from now. I would err on the side of caution of going from now until the end of the year because that's too much time and a lot can happen or shift between now and then. If the pandemic taught us anything, I think it's that you can't plan that far in advance. Meaning some goals might become irrelevant for your changing circumstances, or you're not going to have the motivation to work on something because you're giving yourself too long of a time to complete it. I would go with a minimum of 2 months out and a maximum of 4 months, but really 3 months is the sweet spot. But you need goals that are measurable and you can work towards so you can see your own progress in that part of your life. It's the acknowledgement of that progress that will motivate you to keep working towards the goals you've set while also preventing you from feeling like you're living an endless cycle with little to no change happening. After you've set those goals and chunked out your year to fit your needs, the next part of getting out of Groundhog Day is creating a routine. In other words, before you start striving towards these goals you're setting, you need consistency in your life to help with time management as you add in activities or events to your already tight weekday calendar. I know, creating a routine probably sounds counterintuitive, and you're thinking, Jess, a routine is doing the same thing at the same time over and over again. And isn't that by definition Groundhog Day, or what you're helping us to try and get out of? To which I'd reply, allow me to explain. I'm also pretty sure I've mentioned this in the Healthy Foundations episode, but your routine serves as your safety net. It is the part of your schedule that creates consistency and helps you feel like you're not about to lose your mind because you're becoming more organized with your life and therefore your relationship to time. Our three greatest assets are time, money, and energy. And time is the only thing that is non-renewable, meaning you can't gain back that time that has already been lost. You can, however, save time in the future. And that starts with your routine. That organization translates to time management and creates open spaces in your day for you to plug in something else. This doesn't mean you need to overload your calendar every day of the week, but say once a week, at least to get started. If getting out of Groundhog Day is truly important for you to do, which I'm assuming it is if you've made it this far into this episode, then you're going to need to take up the more undesirable aspects of having a routine, and that is morning workouts and meal prepping. You're going to want to save time in as many places as you can, otherwise you are going to run out of time in your day. And remember, you need sleep in order to be able to do it all without crashing. This might even mean using some money to buy back time, like meal prepping services or personal training, so you don't have to plan out your meals or your workouts. But morning workouts might become necessary. They will become necessary for you to start implementing sooner rather than later, even though it is going to be a rough transition. Evening workouts are easier to skip if something comes up, like your work throws a surprise happy hour or your friends invite you to dinner. And then the other part of evening workouts is by the time you get home after the gym, it's 7 or 7:30, maybe even 8, and you need a shower and eat. So now we're talking 8:39, and by that point, it's a bit too late to go out and do something when you've worked the next day. Besides, most events happen at happy hour times, so it's on you to plan your priorities accordingly, which means going to the gym in the mornings so you have more time after work to do other things that interest you or will help you progress towards your goals without taking away progress from your other goals. Something else I like to tell my clients, or really reassure them about, is that morning workouts are never going to get easier. It's always going to be more desirable to stay in bed and press snooze. So know that you're not alone in that, oh, fuck this mentality. All of us morning gym goers are riding that same boat. I have one morning client in particular who will use his tiredness as an excuse for if he's not performing as well as he thinks he should be or compared to the week before. And at first, he would actually cancel our sessions because he was tired, and that comes at a cost. He would still get charged for that session. Whenever he would use his tiredness or his sleepiness as an excuse, I would always come back to him with saying, look, we're all tired. We're all tired all the time. I told him you could go up to every single person in this gym and they will say they are tired. And it's because morning workouts are tough. They are very mentally tough, but they are so worth it. And if you do them properly, as in you don't overexert yourself, you'll actually feel more energized throughout your day and be able to show up to that happy hour event instead of dragging your feet. But think about having 3 or 4 hours of time after work, even if that means waking up 1 or 2 hours earlier. And yes, that does mean you're going to need to shift your sleep schedule. But mind you, it's all priority based. And besides, a morning workout will psychologically help you make better decisions and healthier decisions for yourself. On the days that I have to be up early for personal training clients, meaning before 5 a.m., and I work out that same day, so after my morning clients, I find that I don't need a nap in the afternoon, and it's because I worked out to give me energy. The meal prepping part of the equation helps save you time during the week for prepping and cleaning, or for making poor food decisions that are going to leave you feeling crappy and then skipping your morning workouts. When you go to add in something new to your schedule, you need to plan ahead for that day, which is also why I recommend to start with 1 day a week. That planning is laying out your clothes for that day or even the next day, having your foods ready to go and prepped, knowing when you're going to do what in terms of working out, working, and then whatever that addition is to your schedule, and having a set time you want to be home by so you don't derail your next day. Once you have your goals and your routine down packed and have created time and energy for something new, then you can move into that next step of getting out of Groundhog Day. And that is finding something new that interests you to add into your schedule. Again, start with once a week and see how you feel from an overwhelm or energy perspective. And then you can add in a second thing and so on and so forth. What you don't want to do is have something planned for every single day of the week. Otherwise, you're seriously going to risk burning yourself out. This new thing could be a networking social event or a sport or a pottery class, maybe even improv, a certification, building a side hustle, learning a new language. Depending on your goal, if it's learn a new skill or make a friend or date organically, you need to find some activity that supports that. My story is a little unique in that I didn't have a full-time job when I stumbled into my passion. But what I did do was think about some part of my life I enjoyed, which was working out, and I wanted to learn how to work out better and maybe help people. But I originally went into the certification for me. And then I saw an opportunity to start training people through an outdoor fitness boot camp and figured, why not? I've got the time right now. And to my surprise, I fell in love with helping people. But it was that initial curiosity of wanting to learn something that led me down the road of personal training and eventually coaching. It was my time management and priorities that helped me develop this business and new career while maintaining a full-time job when I went back to work and a long-distance relationship at the same time. I know this saying is cliched, but it's true. We're all given the same 24 hours in a day, and to my fellow 20-somethings who are childless, we all pretty much hold the same level of time commitments to things like work, friends, and being healthy. So it's not that there's not enough time in the day, it's more so you don't know how to manage your time in the day to fit what's truly important to you. This is catered specifically to my 9-to-5ers because I know nurses have it tough and some of you have jobs that require more than 40 hours a week, but I will say a majority of the 20-somethings listening have a standard desk job, and that's who I'm speaking to. If you're part of the group that's not a 9-to-5er, you and I can have a separate conversation of how we can get you out of Groundhog Day within your unique schedule. But the way you set up your day, each and every day, will reflect what it is that matters to you the most. The final tip I want to give for getting yourself out of Groundhog Day is actually from a book I read a few months ago called The Gap and the Gain. And in that book, the author, Dan Sullivan, says to make a list of examples of when you're feeling successful. So you would start it off with, I am being successful when, ... For me, I am being successful when I can work out in the middle of the morning, because when I was working on transitioning out of the corporate world, I was waking up at 5:45 every day to go work out before heading into the office. I am also being successful when I have time to read in the mornings. I am being successful when I can do work by the pool. So take a look at your life, primarily your weekday life, and come up with a bunch of examples that reminds you of your success so you can learn to appreciate certain moments in your day rather than feeling like you are drowning in the same day over and over again. It could be that you're successful when you can go out to dinner during the week because you feel financially secure. This is for any of you listening who has ever lost your job and felt very insecure about your financial situation. Or another one is you're being successful when you can walk your dog in the middle of the day and not have to worry about a stranger doing it for you. Again, it might feel like the most mundane things that you take for granted, but trust me, it helps shift your perspective about what your job and your lifestyle is actually doing for you and how it's supporting you in this chapter of your life, which is really where it all comes down to. Groundhog Day is a mental shift. It's a shift in the way you view your day-to-day life, what you're actively working on and towards, and the parts that are keeping you stable while you go to up-level other aspects. It is really easy to get lost in your own life or caught up in running through the same cycles, but with goals, time management, and curiosity, you can start mixing things up. And funny enough, those are the first two pillars in my Own Your Life system. It's create your goals and awareness around your life and develop consistency in your routine, priorities, and habits that will result in better time management so that you have the space to invite in something new. And who knows, possibly help you reach your full potential. Or your passion for something entirely unexpected. It's how I went from being an interior designer with a full-time job to a life and nutrition coach and a personal trainer. But if this is something you are wanting to work on for yourself and don't really know how to get started or what to do once you do get started, but are sick and tired of living the same day over and over again, then let's hop on a call, as I would love to help you out and redesign your life with you. The link to schedule a call with me is always in the show notes where it says let's chat. So click on it, schedule time to talk with me. But know that you're not alone in this feeling of redundancy and that there is an antidote to this struggle. It's me. I'm the antidote to help you. On that note, this does conclude another episode of How to 20-something. If you liked what you heard, please share this either with a friend, a family member, an actual groundhog on social media, and tag me at coach.justdiamond when you do. And as always, I can't wait to be in your headphones again next week with another brand new episode.